day of July. This weekend is the 4th of July already. So today we are going to make homemade pizza sauce. And then after it's done, we'll make a homemade pizza. And to make that homemade pizza, we're going to just use a piece of naan bread. Now, first of all, remember that all the recipes for our cooking classes are on the Macintosh Memorial Library website. And you can just go to Summer Programs and then follow the links until you get to cooking. And remember, also at Beanstack, you can get credit and get entered into the weekly drawing by finishing a cooking. And don't forget to post a picture because it'll be awesome to see your homemade pizzas. Now, we have to make sure we have all of our ingredients, but before we do that, do you remember who we have to thank? You're right, we have to thank Vernon Communications for lending us their camera, doing editing, doing so much for the library. Remember, it's a really good partnership. All right, let's check if we have all our ingredients. Let's see. Olive oil, check. A large onion. Yep, I think this qualifies for large, don't you? 3 cloves of garlic. Yep, look at this is a whole garlic ball. But I think I might have, yep, I've got 3 right there. 28 can of tomato, and I've already opened it. 6 ounces of tomato paste, pepper, basil, oregano, hiding back here, bay leaf, a little bit of sugar, actually this is a lot of it, but we only need a little bit, and some salt. All right, so it says the first, oh, and remember, when you cook, you should already wash your hands. You should never start cooking until you've washed your hand. And I did that, of course, before I went on camera. I got all my hands washed and clean. So, let's get started. Says heat oil in a large fry pan. This is a large fry pan. And I'm just gonna put the oil in there, and then I'm gonna add the onions and heat it all up together. So it says 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'm going to do that first. One, 2, 3. I'm just going to let that drip in there so it doesn't make a mess somewhere else. And then it says to chop the onion. Ooh, I hope I don't start crying. This is a big dude. Want to make sure I get all that onion skin out of the way because I don't want that in my pizza sauce. I don't know about you guys, but now when you use a knife, sometimes it's a good idea to have an adult help you get started. And did you see what I did there? I just made a line down like that with my knife, and then I can peel all that thin peeling away. And I think I'm going to do one more layer because I see right here the onion looks a little different, and then that's kind of a tough part of the onion and it just never seems to cook well. There. Now how I like to do this, I like to make thin cuts this way, but not all the way through. Oh, yep, I'm starting to smell that onion. I'm going to put those pieces off to the side. Then I'm going to do it, turn my onion a quarter turn, and I'm going to do it that way. And you got to use your hand to kind of hold it together. Now see, I made this side flat so that when I slice my onion, I have a nice base. Then I do it, tip it on that side, and cut. And I have my nice little cubes. Yep, this was a big onion. That's a lot of onion. But you know what? Onion makes everything taste great. Now this last part wasn't quite all the way through, so I had to make the cuts now. And don't forget, you should ask permission. You have to clean up after you cook. And a few more pieces to cut. Okay, now I'm going to put all of this in here. Then I'm going to chop my garlic. And when I do garlic, I cut off both ends just a little bit, and lots of times that helps the papery outside come. And then you just smash it. An instant peel. That one I didn't even have to smash, but I'm gonna anyway because that helps me chop it. Now again, it's just a good idea to just cut little slices. Tell I'm crying. It's still from the onion. You want to chop this and get it real fine. You don't want to have to bite into a big piece of garlic. If you have a garlic press, that's a really good idea to use right here. Alright, so once your garlic is nice and fine, then you're going to scoop it up and put it in here with those onions. Now remember, I'm an adult. I've used a knife lots of times this big, and I have larger hands. So remember, safety counts in cooking. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this over to the stove and brown it. So here I go. So our onions are browning here on the stove, and we don't really want them to brown. We just want them to pre-cook, and it's called till they're limp. And you can kind of tell that when they're kind of see-through. I'm going to move back to the table, and we're going to get the rest of the ingredients into the pan where it's going to cook. Okay, while that is cooking, we're going to add the rest of the ingredients, and then all we have to do is add the onion. So we need a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, so we're just going to dump that in there. And you know what? If it were tomato season, I would totally use fresh tomatoes. Then we need 6 ounces of tomato paste, which is this little tiny can. And then after that, we have to add all our seasonings. 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. teaspoon of basil. I sure wish manufacturers would make basil or any of these bottles big enough to put a measuring spoon in. And again, I didn't have fresh basil. My basil isn't big enough yet, but putting fresh basil really is good in here. A tablespoon of oregano. I always try to put lids back on right away. Then I know which lid goes with which bottle, and if I tip it over, I don't make a mess. And it says 1 bay leaf. Here's a nice big one. And then just 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then a tablespoon of salt, which is a lot of salt. So I'm going to make that, it's called a scant tablespoon, which means a little bit less, not a big full one. And now these are all ready. So now I'm going to go put those on the heat. So our onions and garlic are done, and I can smell them a lot. I wish that you could too. And I can see that they're done because the onions are what I call translucent. They're a little bit see-through. And now this has to cook for a little while. And personally, I think the flavors taste better if it's cooked for several hours. So what I typically do is I make this sauce like late in the morning and just let it cook all day together. And then by the time you want to use it for dinner, it's really quite good. And sometimes I need to add a little water to it, but this looks fairly good. It's thick to start with. You'll see that it's quite thick. But once the tomatoes start breaking down, it gets a little thinner. But you want your pizza sauce to be fairly thick. So now I'm going to put this on the heat, and I'm going to do it pretty warm at first just to get it started, and I'm going to keep a cover on it so that it keeps the moisture in for a while. And then if it gets too runny, I'll take the cover off. Alright, so there we go. So now we have to wait a good hour before the pizza sauce is ready. So that means we have some time to get our toppings ready. I'm just going to use, I'm not going to make homemade pizza dough, but I'm going to use these. And I find these to be just the right thickness. Not too thick like bread dough gets, but not too thin. So it makes a little bit heartier meal. So I'm done with this. And I'll shred the cheese just beforehand because I don't want it to dry out. So I'm going to, I personally am not going to have any meat on my pizza. I really like pizza without meat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all my vegetables ready that we'll want to put on our pizza. And I know that's the way my family is too. They prefer pizza without meat as well. So I just need a little bit of this, probably just a quarter of it. I'm going to take out that inside, the seeds, and tap it so that they'll go away. And I'm going to do the same with the red. Because once you have 3 kinds of peppers, that's a lot of peppers then. And I have a little bit of green left over from a different meal I made. So I'm going to chop these. And these don't have to be real small. And then I'm probably going to put olives. I'm probably going to put mushrooms. I might even add a little bit more tomato and some like little tomatoes and maybe, maybe even some more onion. I'm not sure yet. And you know, the more you can add fresh ingredients, maybe even some from your garden, that's like awesome. Okay, and I already did my olives and mushrooms, and I'll decide if I want to put tomatoes on, so I'm not going to slice those yet. So, we're going to wait for our pizza sauce to be ready, and then we'll finish the pizza. Oh my gosh, this sauce smells so good. I think I'm in a pizzeria. Oh, we are. We're in Macintosh Pizzeria. All right, so the first thing, I've got my naan, and I got to put on some of this delicious sauce. And I'm preheating my little toaster oven here. Does this look good or what? I had to smell this all day. Now, I'm so hungry for it. I'm gonna leave a little bit around the edge so it doesn't. Then I'm gonna add some pretty colors. More green ones, I think. A little more yellow too. Some olives. I like olives. Could add a few more. Some mushrooms. And I already shredded the cheese. Now, I know some people like lots of cheese on their pizza. Not me. I'm a little cheese girl. But I like a mixture of cheese. So today I have extra sharp cheddar and Parmesan. And it will be beautiful. Now, I'm going to open the oven and see I was preheating it, so now it's like super hot. It's getting ready to ding pretty darn soon. Now for these last few minutes, I turned it on broil, so that'll make the cheese get nice and bubbly and brown. And while I was waiting for this, I made a second one to pop in the oven, just in case I'm really hungry. Or somebody else is. Pretty soon, I see it's almost to the 0. Ding! Pizza's ready. Ooh, does that look like a pizzeria pizza or what? Geez, I don't know if I got a big enough plate out for myself. Nope, it's hanging over. Let me put this back in. We start our second pizza. I'm gonna try this. Ooh, this looks very hot though. Yum. You would like it. I wish we could be together to have our pizza together. Now, tomorrow is craft day, and we are going to make a daisy to put in a vase. So, I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock.